All right. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for attending our 8th annual summit. My name is Melinda Marcourt. I am one of the coordinators for IGP, and I've had the pleasure of coordinating this year's summit, and I'm so happy to be here to kick off today's event. We will first begin with a land acknowledgement. Northern Arizona sits at the base of the San Francisco Peaks on homeland sacred to Native Americans throughout the region. We honor their past, present, and future generations who have lived here for millennia and will forever call this place home. And on another timely note, happy Earth Day, everyone. We also extend a warm welcome to our VIP guests, President Cruz Rivera, our Vice Provost, Executive Director, and the Deans, Associate Deans, and Chairs from the 5 NAU academic colleges we're involved with in IGP, CEFNS, FCB, Cal, and KIAS, and the Honors College. It means the world to us to have you here with us today. Welcome to our colleagues across campus, academic advisors, education abroad advisors, and the Friends of CIE. Thank you so much for joining. Today's summit is split into 3 parts. We are currently in the welcome and keynote session of Summit. After hearing from our keynote speaker, we will split off into new Zoom rooms for our subject major and our language Q&A sessions. At the end of this portion, this session, I will give you further instructions on how to join those sessions. Due to our virtual format, the emphasis on this portion will be on the speaker. We recommend that you go up to the right-hand corner of your Zoom window. There's a word that says view. Please click that and choose speaker view. I'm going to give you a second or two to do that right now. We are so fortunate to have 18 wonderful level 5 students representing the cohort of 2020 today. It's been such a pleasure to work with these students and witness their determination to succeed in the face of adversity. To kick off our annual summit, it's my honor to introduce the president of NAU, Dr. Jose Luis Cruz Rivera.
Thank you and good morning to those in Flagstaff and good afternoon to those around the world. I am thrilled to join you today for the 8th Summit of the Interdisciplinary Global Programs. Congratulations to our 18 student presenters, 10 of whom are presenting from either France, Germany, or Spain. And welcome to everyone, our presenters, their families, mentors abroad, our NAU language faculty mentors, our IGP students, and our staff support teams. We are happy to arrive to the moment for which you have worked so hard over the past 5 years. I have reviewed your fieldwork projects on the Summit website, and I am impressed and excited by your work and the level of language and cultural immersion that you have accomplished. IGP's 8th cohort was supposed to go abroad in fall of 2020. Of course, we knew that our global pandemic had other thoughts. This was the one and only semester that NAU did not complete or had to institute a pause on study abroad during the global pandemic. 3 mitigation strategies were employed to keep your cohort engaged in IGP and on track for graduation, including the 10 of you in Europe who delayed your experience abroad by a full year. As mobility started up again in spring of 2021, some of you went abroad to a brave new world and navigated not only the standard challenges of international education, but also the added challenges of taking courses and finding an internship abroad during national lockdowns. Your determination is nothing short but inspiring. This year's theme, Stronger Together, is demonstrated throughout our commitment to stay the course in practicing your discipline through another language and culture despite the heavy challenges you faced. If there is one thing we have learned through the pandemic, It is that we need each other. We need all of us around the world working for a better future. Your Bachelor of Arts degree in Language or Culture represents the humanities. Your Bachelor of Science degrees in STEM or Business represents yet another way of looking at the world. You are naturally poised to employ a broad skill set in your work and the approaches to problems that you will bring to bear. You already know what it is like to get comfortable being uncomfortable through the process of intercultural understanding. There is much to be gained from a cohort of young professionals with the skills and experiences to prioritize humanity while practicing their discipline. Your global skills and networks bring us immense hope for the future. We respect the way you have chosen a path less traveled and saw it through despite major obstacles. And as someone who had the opportunity to live in many countries throughout my upbringing and later throughout my educational and professional life, I am truly in awe of your courage to embark down this path, and so inspired by what I know will be the lessons you have learned and how they will be translated into action in the years ahead. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and for your brilliant work. Congratulations and welcome again to all participants here today. May you have a most productive next few hours. Thank you.
Thank you, President Cruz Rivera, for that really uplifting message. We really greatly appreciate your attendance here today. Next, it is my great honor to welcome our alumnus keynote speaker Michi LaPlante. Michi is a member of the IGP cohort of 2019. She graduated from NAU with a Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Sciences and a Bachelor of Arts in Modern Languages with an emphasis in French in 2020. She recently received her master's in Languages and Culture from the University of Cork in Ireland, and she's now beginning her journey to become a master's student in epidemiology at Utrecht University in the Netherlands. Michi truly embodies the concept of interdisciplinarity. We welcome you, Michi.
Thank you for the introduction, Melinda. I'm just going to quickly share my screen. Sorry. All right. So I am so thrilled to be opening for the Spring 2022 Summit. My name is Michi LaPlante, and I know that all of us have radically different views outside of our windows right now. I am in Ireland and I have like beautiful blooming magnolias outside of mine. But because of that, because we're all over the world, I'm so glad that we've been able to coalesce here for this time. And I wanted to introduce a bit about me. I am a 2020 IGP graduate, and for my year abroad, I was in Bordeaux, France. And while I was in France, I was really introduced to how hard living abroad can actually be. But in the same way, it showed me that I want to continue pursuing international experiences, and that thrill of exposure to international fields and new cultures led me to Ireland, where I've done a master's degree in languages and cultures. But I see a great value in education, and that's why I've continued this kind of two-way master's degree with having done one degree in languages and cultures, and now I'm going to be pursuing a master's in epidemiology to kind of bridge empathetic cultural exchange with the science I want to pursue. And because I've had such a circuitous route, here's just a visual representation of what I've said. I was in Bordeaux, France in 2019. Once I graduated from NAU, I worked at a bird sanctuary for the rest of the year and then started my master's program in Cork, Ireland. I completed the next year my dissertation on Haitian voodoo and feminist theory with an emphasis on like practical, actionable feminism. And now I'm still living in Ireland in like a collaborative house and planning on working towards my career in epidemiology. And so with the experiences I've had in mind, I want to talk about two concepts that I'm sure you're all familiar with at this point, but continue to be incredibly important in both my personal and professional life, which are interdisciplinarity and community. So when I was an undergraduate student, I remember asking myself sometimes, like, what am I going to actually do with all of this knowledge? And what is it good for other than a stressful academic schedule? And as I grew, especially through my experiences in France, I liked to think of interdisciplinarity with the analogy of a Swiss Army knife, where everything is in this one form in your brain, but you can like use different tools depending on the situation to solve complex problems. And that has really inspired me to continue to be interdisciplinary, to find like solutions to complex problems, as well as just being fueled by the curiosity to know how everything is connected. So that has influenced how I seek out opportunities. But one thing I've noticed is that in trying to tackle these problems with an interdisciplinary approach, it sometimes absorbs chaos and can almost create what you're trying to mitigate. Because if one person at the same time is learning French and Mandarin and training for a half marathon, working on their relationships, etc., very little is done with that depleted energy. And more I've realized, if you work beyond your capacity, you are not putting out quality anymore. Especially during my master's dissertation, I tried to fit everything in. I tried to paint the universes with my words, and my supervisor needed to remind me continuously to be specific and focus on the quality of work. And quality is such an important aspect that is so easy to forget, which is why I've found it needs to be honed as a practice of focused work. And my Swiss Army analogy works quite well here as well, because of course, if all of the tools are out at once, none of them are very usable, and the knife and the screwdriver will get in the way of each other and not be useful. So the ability to understand which tool is useful in which scenario has been an incredibly valuable skill that I've learned about interdisciplinarity. The second aspect that is incredibly important, I will read a quote by one of my favorite speakers, Hank Green, to elaborate on it. There aren't really any problems that aren't connected to the other problems. So when you're working on something, you're kind of working on everything. So as long as the thing you are working on makes the world better, you are working on all of it. And that is to say that everything in ways is connected. And when you focus your attention on something good, change is being affected all over the map. So no matter how small the thing you perceive you are doing, you are having a tangible impact. And in that way, I found that just because we are interdisciplinary does not mean that we have to do it all. We don't have to tackle all of the world's problems at once, all the time in a chaotic rush, even though there is so much to do. Because I've found through my life so far that we all live multiple lives. And I don't mean that in a spiritual sense of reincarnation at the moment. It's more that we focus our attention to different places throughout our lives. And now a lot of you are students and researchers and are like diving deeply into that. But once you graduate, that might change entirely, of course. So it is important to remember that just because you are taking this path does not mean that you have to do it all. The second topic that I want to cover is very dear to my heart. When I was in France, I became really curious about the outcomes of IGP students' experiences, because with my cohort, I found such a diversity of experiences, and satisfaction with the year abroad. And so I created an independent research project where I surveyed some of my cohort for the last 4 months of their internship, and then completed an hour-long interview with each of them when we came back to NAU. And it was really interesting in how the differences in how students felt fulfilled in their experience. But one of the most significant and statistically significant factors in satisfaction and integration with host culture was making strong local networks. And the experience was difficult for everyone at first, in different ways, of course, but most of my participants struggled to adapt. But this, while quite clear finding, it just points to the fact that our connections and our support systems shape us. And I too am in a state of transition right now. And I find it interesting that ironically, when you have like the least amount of physical community is often when you might need it most. But that's why I've come to realize that some connections are naturally unbroken by distance. They're simply changed. Even through NAU and IGP, I have maintained some of the connections with my mentors and advisors, and still check in on a regular basis to make sure to maintain a strong community around the things that I care about. And that is why I'd like to invite you to ask yourselves these questions, which are, what are my networks of support? And who are the people I can ask for help in my personal circles and in my academic and career lives? Because these people are so important. And what do I need right now? Where could I get more support for what I need? I know sometimes it's difficult to know, even what you need, but once you figure that out, it's a clear path to, part of your support network to get that. Where could I more support those people that I care about? And in that way, in what areas is there room for mutual growth? Because the people that stick with you are so important. And I've talked a lot about interdisciplinarity and community throughout this presentation, but most importantly, I hope that interdisciplinarity brings you connection. So thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Mishi, for such a timely and impactful message for not only our students, but everyone in this audience today. It's also wonderful to hear how you're applying the skills you learned in IGP of interdisciplinarity to the next journey of your career, and we wish you all the best. Now I would like to introduce Melissa Armstrong, the Director of IGP, for some closing remarks.
Thank you, Melinda. Congratulations, Mishi, on your powerful remarks. Thanks again to President Cruz Rivera for your support of the IGP Summit. And we're excited to get on to the next portions of the summit, where we'll hear from the level 5 students, our 2020 cohort. We are so proud of you and so impressed with your work and really excited to hear more. I'd like to conclude our first part of the summit with 3 things. First, I want to revisit our theme of Stronger Together and highlight the many points of intersection in the IGP journey, these parallels where language meets culture, culture meets discipline, language meets discipline, and visualize how these intersections generate strength. The strength is in the intersections. In many ways, the diverse support network among the many people involved in IGP creates a net that can catch students as they navigate their international journey. The diverse global network is our favorite part of IGP, and we see that the more people involved in supporting our future leaders, the more opportunities we create for reciprocity. When we learn how to receive diverse support, we learn how to give diverse support. Our 158 alumni, such as Mishi, tell the story of a global network of reciprocity and strength, and the future looks really bright. Second, I want to acknowledge our 4 IGP students in this 2020 cohort going to Asia, who opted to delay their graduation date in order to wait out border closures. IGP has 1 student in Hong Kong currently this semester who will complete her fieldwork in the fall, and we have 3 students still waiting to go to Japan for their moment of mobility. We support you, and we promise it will be worth the wait. Third, I want to thank the IGP Summit coordinating team for organizing this major effort. A big thank you to Melinda Marquardt, IGP Program Coordinator Senior, for leading us in the summit organization, Yu-Hong Hu, IGP Grad Assistant, for the hours you spent organizing the Zoom room assignments and student questions, Araya Hannah for your artwork and great graphic design, and a major thank you to the capstone professors, Benning Tiki, Erica Hess, Jessica Wood, for preparing the students. And a giant thank you to all language faculty mentors for your constant support of students through their IGP journey and for facilitating the breakout rooms today. Finally, a very special thank you to Dr. Benning Tiki, also known as Benito, who will be leaving IGP after 9 years. Benito has been an instrumental member in building, launching, and evolving IGP. Benito, it is difficult to imagine an IGP without you. Thank you for your leadership in articulating the nuanced spirit of this interdisciplinary program. Thank you for your advocacy in prioritizing language and culture on NAU campus and bringing national and international recognition to what we do. We will miss you so much, but your work in IGP will live on forever. Thank you, Melinda. I will turn it back to you.
All right, thank you, Melissa. So it's nearly time for us to leave this Zoom call, and we'll proceed to the subject major Q&A session that begins at 9:30 a.m. Arizona time. At the end of this call, please return to the Summit website and select Student Works and Live tab up in the right-hand corner. You can kind of see it in the screenshot we have here. We will also include the link in the chat at this time for your convenience. Simply scroll to the student presentation that you would like to attend. For instance, if you'd like to attend Ben, you can scroll to Ben and you will click the Join Subject Major Q&A session button on the right side. To attend the language Q&A session at 10:15 a.m. Arizona time, please follow the same steps, scrolling to find the student presentation you'd like to join or you're assigned to join, and click the Join Language Q&A session button. The password for all of our Q&A sessions is Summit, capitalized, as you can see in the screenshot as well. IGP students, you must attend both Q&A sessions you have been assigned to. We will be taking attendance in the first 20 minutes or so. For our guests, please take your pick at which student presentation you'd like to join. Some IGP and CIE staff will remain in this Zoom call, this welcome Zoom call. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to stay behind and we'll point you in the right direction. And if you have any problems throughout the next 2 sessions, please rejoin this Zoom link to ask your questions and be pointed in the right direction. This Zoom link is available on our website in the Summit Schedule tab on the top right-hand corner. And at the end of the language Q&A session, you are all welcome to go and out and about in the rest of your day. And thank you so much for joining, and we hope you enjoy the remaining portion of Summit.